Hello everyone, I'm Milan Singh, Assistant Professor and UGC NET qualified. Today I have brought for you details about Chhattisgarh Public Service Commission examination, that is the CGPSC examination. If you are anyone who is preparing for CGPSC examination or even thinking to prepare for this examination, this video will be of a lot of help for you people. Now, I would like to tell you something here, that we are not only providing you the details of pattern and syllabus, but we are also providing you a course on CG. That is a full GS course with special of Chhattisgarh General Studies, where we will be covering all the topics of state PSC as per the syllabus, the very new syllabus, and you can get it with very minimal prices. What all you need to do is you just have to go to your Play Store and download an app known as Purvanchal IAS app, which you can see written here. You have to type this in the Play Store, and the first app that appears you have to download, and there you can find all the details about our courses, our video, our PPTs, everything will be there. Not only this, if you are an UPSC aspirant or an MPPSC aspirant, or even if you need complete course on NCERT, we have it available right there. So I suggest you to download this app and be with us in this journey, and I'm sure we will make your future a golden one. We have other courses also, like Science and Technology, Environment, Science and Technology and Environment, and many more, which you can take a look according to your need. Now, to begin with this state PSC examination, let me tell you, CGPSC examination is conducted into 3 phases, okay? That is, you have to go through 3 phases in order to reach to that level of success. The first phase is the preliminary examination, where you have 2 papers which are objective in nature. Paper 1 is the General Studies 1 and paper 2 is the aptitude test. Mains is having 7 papers which are subjective in nature. Then you have interview. So 3 phases are preliminary, mains and then interview. Now, what is important here to note is, in the preliminary examination, the 2 papers are compulsory, having the duration of 2 hours. Most importantly, there will be negative marking for every wrong answer that you mark. 1/3 of your mark will be deducted for every wrong answer. The question paper 1 is the General Studies, where you have 100 questions, which is 2 marks each, turning into 200 marks in total. The duration will be 2 hours. And like I told, negative marking of 1/3. In the second paper, which is the aptitude test, again you have 100 questions, 200 marks, and important thing to note here is there is a minimum qualifying marks or the criteria being set by the government. For the unreserved category, 33% minimum marks is required in both of these papers, and for the reserved category, 23% of the marks are required in both of these papers. Okay. This second paper, which is the aptitude test, is actually qualifying in nature. Now, what do you mean by qualifying? That means you have to get this minimum marks. If you are unreserved category, 33% in the second paper. If you are from reserved category or handicapped category, 23% of this second paper. And then there will be preparation of a merit list for shortlisting the candidates for mains examination. The marks of paper 2 will not be taken into consideration. That means you will be qualified for mains examination based on the marks that you get in this first paper. And now when I discuss the syllabus, I will tell you why is it so important for you to take a course of CGPSC. See, this is preliminary paper 1, that is General Studies. Now this paper, having 100 questions, which is objective types, multiple choice, is divided into 2 parts. Usually the questions has a ratio like 50 questions from part 1 and 50 questions from part 2, or it can be 52 questions from part 1 or 48 questions from part 2, and likewise. But you have to give equal weightage to both of these parts in order to qualify preliminary examination and sit for mains. What do you have in part 1 of paper 1? This is general studies, that is history of India, Indian national movement, geography, including physical, social, and economic geography. You have Constitution of India and polity. You have Indian economy. There is general science and technology. You have Indian philosophy, art, and literature, and also culture. You have current affairs and sports, and then you have environment. Part 2, the most important here, is general knowledge of Chhattisgarh. So if you're anyone who is preparing for CGPSC or any other exam conducted by Chhattisgarh government, you have to have general knowledge of Chhattisgarh. And here in my course, I will be providing you each and every topic in detail, covering all the part of general studies of Chhattisgarh. Here we have history of Chhattisgarh and contribution of Chhattisgarh in freedom movement. Then you have geography, climate, physical status, census, archaeological and tourist centers of Chhattisgarh. Literature, music, dance, art and culture, idioms and proverbs, puzzle and riddle, singing of Chhattisgarh. Then you have tribes, spatial traditions, teach and festivals of Chhattisgarh. See, Chhattisgarh is a tribal state. We have lots of tribes and lots of spatial traditions and festivals, which is a very important part of this examination. Then there is economy, forest and agriculture of Chhattisgarh, administrative structure, local government and Panchayati Raj of Chhattisgarh, industry in Chhattisgarh, energy, water, mineral resources, then current affairs of Chhattisgarh. So you understand that there is equal weightage given to both of these part in the examination, and that is why in your preparation also you cannot afford to skip any of these. If you have to get success in this examination, it is very important for you to know this particular area, that is general knowledge of Chhattisgarh. Now, if you go to second paper, that is the qualifying nature paper, which is the aptitude test, you have these general, things covered in the syllabus like interpersonal skills, including communication skills, logical reasoning, analytical ability, decision making, problem solving, general mental ability, basic numeracy, knowledge of Hindi language, knowledge of Chhattisgarhi language. Okay, this is something that you need to know. Since this is qualifying in nature, so you do not need to worry that much, but still you have to get the marks 33% if you are unreserved category, 23% if you are into reserved or handicapped category. Now, if you qualify prelims, which you will if you stay with us, follow whatever we are saying you do, and follow our complete course, you will reach to this destination known as mains. So let us discuss what is Chhattisgarh PSC mains pattern. In CGPSC mains, you basically have 7 papers to cover. How many papers? 7 papers to cover, which are subjective in nature, that is, you are supposed to write the answers. I will be dealing with main syllabus very much detail in my next video, because if I include that much detailed syllabus in this video, this will stretch a lot in the timing. The duration would become very much, which I do not want to happen. So I will be here discussing in brief, and in my next video I will be bringing to you everything in detail about mains pattern syllabus and how you are supposed to approach that. Now here, out of the 7 paper, the first paper is the language paper. So in the first paper, you have the language, which is 3 hours duration and marks 200. Please remember, all these mains paper have the duration of 3 hours and the marks allotted to them is 200 on each paper. In the language paper, you have basically 3 languages: Hindi, English, Chhattisgarhi. We will be covering it a little later. Then in paper 2, you have an essay paper. There is paper 3, which is termed as General Studies 1. There is paper 4, which is called as General Study 2. there is paper 5, which is called as General Studies 3. There is paper 6, which is called as General Study 4. And then there is paper 7, which is termed as General Study 5. We will take into look of their syllabus in the next slide. The total marks of all these 7 papers sum up to 1400. Now, if you qualify this means you come in the shortlisting of a merit candidate, you get to appear in the third phase, that is the interview. Interview is of 150 marks and the grand total becomes 1550. That is, if you get in the rank of merit listing in this marking, you will be termed as a qualified in the CGPSC. You will hold a rank, which you will, I am sure, very soon. Let us discuss the syllabus of these papers in little brief. In detail, I will be covering in the next lecture because it is a very, very vast syllabus and you have to have thorough reading of all of these syllabus. So we will be covering it in the next video. See, in all the papers of Chhattisgarh PSC, the mains paper are divided into 3 parts. How many parts? 3 parts. In each paper, that means you have 3 parts having different topics which you are supposed to cover for this examination. Like I told you, paper 1 is the language, where you have 3 languages. In the part 1, you have general Hindi. So you are supposed to have knowledge of general Hindi language. Then you have part 2, which is general English. That means you require the knowledge of general English. And then part 3, you have the topic or the subject as Chhattisgarhi Bhasha. So if you are someone who is preparing for this examination, you should be aware of Chhattisgarhi Bhasha, which is the part of your paper 1 language. In paper 2, you have only 2 parts. Please remember that. In paper 2, which is the essay paper, you have only 2 parts. The first part is international issues and national level issues. That is, whatever the current ongoing issues in the international and the national scenario, you have to be prepared for them, writing an essay about those topics. And the second part is a Chhattisgarh state level issues. That means you not only need to prepare international and national, you also are required to prepare Chhattisgarh state level issues, and you are supposed to write essays from this part also. Then there is paper 3, which is termed as General Study 1. And in the part 1 of paper 3, you have History of India. All of us know that History of India starts from the Stone Age, that is the prehistoric age, and it is till reorganizations of state that is being covered here. In part 2, you have Constitution and Public Administration together, the whole Indian Constitution, the Constitution of Chhattisgarh as well, and this subject known as public administration holds its importance in this topic. In the part 3, very important, you have is History of Chhattisgarh. Total history of Chhattisgarh since the prehistoric to the reorganization of this state. Okay. In the paper 4, part 1, you have general science. Now remember, this general science covers physics, chemistry, biology. If you are done with class 10th level, it's fine. You will be able to do it. In the part 2, it is aptitude test, logical reasoning, mental ability. And then in the part 3, you have applied and behavioral sciences. This basically includes biodiversity, science and technological developments, etc. in this part, the applied nature and the behavioral sciences. In paper 5 of General Study 3, you have economics of India and also the economics of Chhattisgarh, that is the census, density, population, GDP, national income of India, etc. is being covered in this part. In the part 2, you have geography of India. Part 3 is geography of Chhattisgarh. Okay. In the paper 6, which is termed as General Study 4, you have philosophy. Part 2, you have sociology. Part 3, you have social aspects of Chhattisgarh, which covers tribes, marriages, clan, etc. The social aspects that the state of Chhattisgarh is having. Now this paper 7, which has been included in the syllabus in 2018 only when the pattern was changed, is the new one. General Studies 5, it is termed as. In the part 1, you have welfare, development programs and laws in reference to India. as well as Chhattisgarh. So whatever laws and development programs the government is following at the national and the state level, you should be aware of both of them. In the part 2, you have international and national sports, events and organizations like United Nations, UNESCO, WHO, etc. are being covered here. In the part 3, you have international and national educational institute and their role of human development. So whatever educational institutes we have and how are they performing their role in terms of human development, you should be aware of that also. Now, if you see the syllabus, you can automatically very clearly understand that there is a lot of importance given to the Chhattisgarh state general studies. In every paper you see, you will find the presence of Chhattisgarh. So definitely you cannot overlook the general studies of Chhattisgarh. You are sure to clear the examination if you are thorough in this part. Paper 1 may see there is Chhattisgarhi Bhasha. Paper 2 you have Chhattisgarh state level issues. In paper 3 you have Constitution of Chhattisgarh. Then you have History of Chhattisgarh. In paper 5 you have Economics of Chhattisgarh, Geography of Chhattisgarh. In paper 6 you have the presence of Chhattisgarh in its social aspect terms. In paper 7 you have the welfare schemes and laws in Chhattisgarh. So now the question arises that okay, now I know what kind of paper is this, what are the phases, but then how am I supposed to prepare? Is it so easy because the syllabus is so vast? So here I am just giving you some general strategy. Please remember that not one single strategy fits for all. So you are supposed to design strategy which suits you the best. I am just providing you here general outline which you need to keep in mind when you are starting your preparation or when you are making a strategy for yourself. The first thing that you will do the moment you decide that okay, I'm gonna appear for a paper like CGPSC, you have to definitely download the syllabus and you have to read the syllabus thoroughly. When I say thoroughly, I mean point by point and line by line. You have to read the syllabus one time, two times, three times, whatever times, until unless it is printed in your mind. At the same time, you also have to go through previous year papers because obviously previous year papers helps you to analyze what kind of question comes, what is the length and breadth and depth of these paper. And then there is one more point. There is always a debate like should I prepare for prelims first and then for mains, or should I prepare for mains first and then prelims? Please do not fall into such kind of debates. I suggest you to prepare for both the examinations simultaneously because if you prepare for mains, your prelims automatically gets covered. There are n number of overlapping topics like history of Chhattisgarh, geography of Chhattisgarh, polity, tribe, social aspect, environment, current affairs. These are parts of prelims also and mains also. So do not fall into the debate of what to start first. You have to make the preparation simultaneously. Keep that in mind when you are planning your strategy. Then, once you have gone through the syllabus, please segregate the syllabus and keep a printout of. Why I say segregate the syllabus? Because see, if when you see the syllabus for the first time, you may feel, oh my god, this is so much to cover. How will I? Will I be able to cover it in this span of time? Take a deep breath, segregate the syllabus. Do it subject wise and then topic wise. Say, for example, if it is General Studies 1, you have History of India. Okay, topic History of India is a subject, then go for the topic. You have Stone Age, then you have Vedic Age, and so on. So segregate the syllabus likewise, what you are supposed to cover. Take a printout or either write it on the paper by yourself, depending on whichever you're comfortable with. In the previous year paper, you have to do topic-wise analysis because this helps you to understand which is the important topic and how are you supposed to cover that topic. Suppose you are reading something from Stone Age, for example, and you see that, okay, there are questions that have been asked in the previous year preliminary as well as mains. You have to see what kind of questions were asked, and this is how you will plan how you are supposed to study. So please make sure you do topic-wise analysis. Also remember that you have to segregate your syllabus depending on overlapping topics and also the topics which are specially for mains. For example, topics like public administration, sociology, philosophy, all of these are only mains topic. They do not appear in prelims as such. So you have to make sure that you simultaneously prepare for these topics also. So when you are making your timetable, please allot certain time to these special topics as well, and along with it please continue the overlapping topics. Then you have to set small targets. Now why I say this, because if you set a target which is very much big, you're unable to achieve it, it's of no use. That is what I'm trying to say. We always say that a goal should be smart, right? Why smart? Specific, measurable, real, timely, so that we achieve it properly. So set small targets. You can set targets like topic wise. For example, you can set targets on a daily basis or say for a weekly basis. Suppose I say that today I will be covering the topic of mineral resources of Chhattisgarh. Okay, fine. I have segregated the topic that today I will be covering only the mineral resources of Chhattisgarh. So how am I supposed to go for it? Gather all the resources from where you have to study, then sit properly, study that. If you want, you can make notes. If your topics are segregated here and there and sources are different, one or two, you can definitely make your own notes, and then try to go through previous year papers which you have already analyzed and see what were the question asked from this mineral resources of Chhattisgarh, and are you able to attempt them. If you are, good enough. If not, then where are you lagging behind? This will really help you. So make sure you set small target instead of big. Analyze the topic you read. Why do I say analyze the topic? Because for the mains examination, in order to write the subjective answer, you need to have analysis. Say, if there is mineral resources in Chhattisgarh, there could be question prelims also and mains also. So until unless you analyze what kind of minerals are found here, why are they found here, in which belt are they found, and if they are found, what is the rock system there, etc., it will help you to make an analysis and you will be able to answer the question of mains as well. So whatever topic you read, make an analysis of them in your mind, and that will be helpful for mains as well as prelims. And then I suggest to make notes topic wise. Dear students, why do I suggest this is because I know at times, not at times, many a times you may have more than one source to refer. For example, just talking about this topic, mineral resources of Chhattisgarh, you may be referring one or two books or a video lecture. Okay, suppose you refer all of these. There are three sources that you are referring. Now, all of these three sources may contain some different information. One or two new information you will get from every place. It is important for you to have all these information at one single place, and for that short notes is required. These notes not only help you in prelims but also helps you in writing answers for mains. So I suggest you, when you have done a reading of a certain topic from all the sources, then you sit for making notes. You can do it in a notebook, you can do digital note making, you can do it in a A4 sheet, whichever way you feel better. But one suggestion, please do not make very large notes. It has to be short notes, that is just 1 or 2 page. You can use mind maps, you can use it just the map pattern, you can use in any other way, but it has to be a short note. You do not need to copy from the book itself. No, you don't have to do it. You have to have a short note so that while you are revising, you are able to revise it in very small span of time. And the most important part of this preparation is revision and attempting the questions. If you have read it, it's very important that you analyze whether you are able to attempt the questions rightly, accurately or not, and revise as many times as possible. There is no set rule that you have to revise only 2 times or 5 times. No, I suggest you to revise as many times as possible so as this topic is clear in your mind, because as many times we revise, our concepts gets more clarity and we also tend to remember these more often. And then again reminding, I am here always with you. Purvanchal IAS, we people here are always there to help you out and guide in this journey, and I will be providing you all of the contents related to Chhattisgarh General Studies. We have full course of CGPSC. Definitely download this app and definitely take use of it. If you have any queries, feel free to ask. I hope this was helpful, and soon again in my next video I will be bringing for you a proper mains special video where we will be discussing in detail what are the topics covered in mains, each and every topic in detail, and I will also again tell you what is the strategy that you can follow for approaching those topics. Till then, take care, stay safe and healthy.